In my previous post on Martin Luther King Jr. Day, I had a candid discussion with Brandyn Campbell, anti-racist communications consultant, about what companies and leaders can do to recognize and keep employees of color engaged in the workplace. Today, our discussion continues around the importance of employees of color in leadership roles and how to keep them motivated. I sincerely hope this helps you reflect on what you and your organization can do to ensure the engagement of people of color within your workforce. Together, we can make a difference.
Hi, Brandyn. Thank you so much for your time and expertise. I truly appreciate that you're taking the time to share with us today.
You're very welcome, Tracey.
So I have a question regarding the importance of employees of color in leadership roles and how companies can think about getting them into leadership roles if they're not already. And then if they are, how do they keep employees of color engaged?
Sure. So having employees of color in leadership positions is really important in stating and living your values of diversity, equity, and inclusion. I think a lot of companies make the mistake of saying, oh, we want to be diverse. And so their diversity numbers are all in entry-level positions where essentially they've tokenized these individuals. The numbers look great, but they don't have anyone who can speak into, who has the power to really speak out against rules, practices, performance review standards that put employees of color at a disadvantage. You haven't empowered those employees. So it's important to give power and to give voice to those you want to further represent. It's kind of like our democracy. You need to give voice to those you fully want to represent. So that is why it's a really critical aspect of showing your commitment to having diversity and to diversifying the thought that goes into the work that happens, the work that's created, and the culture that's created. You can't know what you don't know. And despite best efforts, if you don't have someone with the perspective of a Black staff experience or a brown person staff experience, then you aren't really weighing the full landscape of where you could be and where you are as an organization. And in terms of what to do to better retain talent, both in leadership and just within the organization, your employees of color, so much of it comes down to what we know about employee engagement. And to me, so much of it is a critical part of the work I do in DEI. It's having some empathy, really wanting to get to know your leaders, your staff, and knowing how they work best, what doesn't work for them, what they're feeling, and how they can be supported. We have to get away from our avoidance of talking about feelings and trying to understand how to best support our staff, particularly those who are from marginalized communities and may not otherwise feel comfortable speaking up about, this interaction really made me uncomfortable. It was a microaggression. If you're not literally listening to them and giving them voice, then you have to ask yourself, how committed are we to having a diverse workplace and a workforce?
So I absolutely love both of those answers. Having someone in the leadership team that is I was thinking, it just leapt to mind, a subject matter expert, because they're living and breathing it every day. I love that, so that they can get that perspective.
Right.
And also exactly what you were saying, sit down and have the conversations like we're doing right now.
Right.
I think it's so important, and people feel uncomfortable, and it is because of the history that we have, that you don't talk about politics, you don't talk about race, you don't talk about religion. But I think in this particular case, it's super important to have those discussions. Like you said, no matter how uncomfortable it may be, I think it's super important. Thank you so much, Brandyn. I truly, truly appreciate your expertise and professionalism.
Thank you so much, Tracey.
Contact Pirozzi Organization Development Solutions for your team building, professional development, and culture transformation needs. Or contact Brandyn Campbell Communications for assistance with your equity and inclusion commitment to racial justice. Together, we can make a difference.